2003 that I got a phone call from Mary Jo Berner. She's in the yellow cape here, saying, I hear you're interested in getting a bike trail between Three Lakes and Eagle River. And I said, yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. She said, well, why don't you do something about it?
That works? Yeah, that works. She said, why don't you do something about it? So we got started with a number of other people from both Three Lakes and Eagle River, and we started work on the original Three Eagle Trail. And it was 6 years ago we held the opening ceremony for that part. That trail starts at Don Burnside Park in Three Lakes, and it ends on Sunstein Road. That's the trailhead. Sunstein Road is a place that most people have no idea where it is. And we talked to people in Eagle River about the new bike trail between Three Lakes and Eagle River, and most people would say, what bike trail? So it's really exciting to be here today, to be not at some unknown place, but in a landmark location, the Eagle River Dairy Queen, which just about everybody knows, to head south 3 miles to our new trailhead, which, believe it or not, is on a road that's even more obscure than Sunstein Road. So we have a way of attracting those as our trailheads. The neat part is we just have 1.5 miles, that missing gap of town road to cover, and we'll have this completely off-road all the way. But this is a real significant step, this 3-mile part right here. We have a lot of people to thank, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But first of all, what I'd like to do is turn the microphone over to the mayor of the city of Eagle River, Jeff Hyslop. Jeff has been involved with this trail since 2004, when we came in and talked to him about a multi-jurisdictional agreement between the town of Lincoln, the town of Three Lakes, and the city of Eagle River. And Jeff was very supportive at the time, back in 2004, and his support has continued to this trail now. We're starting out on the Eagle River city right-of-way, and without the support of Eagle River, this never would have happened. So please help me welcome Jeff Hyslop.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you said all those dates, because I couldn't remember what the dates are. I just know that I've been working on it for a long time with you guys, and you know, it's really good to see, because I know when the Three Eagle Trail first started, that there was a lot of hope that we could have this connection all at once, and it took years to get this last 3 miles in. And so this is really exciting that this is opening up, and we're making another connection. And if you look during that period of time, you look at the network of bike trails and bike routes throughout the county that have developed, you know, in a relatively short period of time, things are really moving along and really developing. So, you know, there's more things to come, but we see some great things happening. And so, you know, I'm glad to be here today and help with this ribbon cutting, and to see this continue, that we can have some good, safe routes for people that want to ride bicycles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Before we get on to our next dignitary, who will be up here in a moment, I want to just give you a quick idea of the order of the events today. We're going to unveil our map here. Some of you may have snuck a peek at it earlier, but we're going to do the map unveiling. We'll hear from a few other people. We'll recognize some of the people that have made this possible. We'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony right here, right by Anthony Drew there. He's guarding the ribbon. And then we'll walk or bike down the trail about 2 miles to the new boardwalk, where there will be, at 11 o'clock, a boardwalk dedication ceremony. And if you haven't seen that boardwalk, it's worth the trip. It's really a neat facility. And then we'll continue across the boardwalk and down the trail about another 3/4 of a mile, where we'll have some rest and refreshments. By the way, has everyone filled out their refreshment order form? This is from the Eagle River Dairy Queen, supported by the Three Eagle Trail, and you can fill that out. We'll have lunch provided, catered by the Dairy Queen down at the other end of the trail. And then when we get down there, we'll have our refreshments, by then the sun will be out, it'll be a beautiful day, and you can do whatever you want. But first of all, as I promised, the unveiling of the new map. And this was going to be a real slick thing. We were just going to pull this sheet out of the way, but it didn't work quite that way because of the wind, so we had to secure it with some reinforced nylon rope. And we'll see if we can now, we're getting there, it's close.
It's close. There we go.
There it is, the new map. And there are some really interesting things about this new segment of the trail. First of all, it starts right here in downtown Eagle River. So this will be available to residents and guests alike. And we're really excited to be able to start it right here. The other thing that's pretty neat is that this trail, even though right now it starts out right along the roadway, you're into the woods pretty soon, and before too long you get to the around the town of Lincoln, the closed landfill down there, and then you get into an area of private property that was made available especially for this trail. That property comes under the name of Para Lila, and you'll hear more about that at the Boardwalk dedication ceremony. But it's really a magical place. You're out there in the wilderness. I was talking to Bill Schertz earlier this morning, and he said, boy, once you get out there, you better be careful because you're on your own. It's wild out there, and it really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. The third thing about this trail is that you'll see there's a little gap in between this new trail and the trail that we completed in 2007. And it's just 1.5 miles long, and we're looking forward to completing that gap. So we're real close to making this off-road all the way to Three Lakes, which will be really, really a neat thing. So right now, what I'd like to do is introduce our next dignitary, who's somewhere around here, Connie Heeg. Connie Heeg, the executive, there he is, hi Connie. Executive Director from the Eagle River Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. Connie Heeg.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure being here today. The first word that comes to my mind is a great big one, uppercase. To everybody involved, congratulations! This is just a phenomenal asset to the community. Behind the scenes, the Chamber has been working with a lot of people over these years that have been spoken about. We fully endorse everything on behalf of the 400 members of the Chamber. We are so pleased to have this happen. We have seen a pattern over the years of the Visitor Center of people coming in asking about bicycle trails and comparing us to other locations that kind of got the jump on us a little bit, frankly. And we just keep saying there's people working on it. It's going to happen somewhere down the road. All these communities are going to be hooked up together, and this is a big part of it. Getting this link between Eagle River and Three Lakes is so special, and seeing that I live on the other end of the thing, my wife and I are really looking forward to the total completion of this thing. How's that for a selfish motivation? But really, it's just great for our community. More and more people that come up here to vacation are bringing bicycles and looking for places to ride, and this is just going to help attract more and more folks to our community over time, which basically will help our entire economy, because anytime people come here and spend money and stay overnight and that sort of thing, it just trickles down to all types of businesses. So that's what it's all about. It's a great recreational thing. It's a very healthy thing for people to do. It's a fun thing for people to do. It's going to help our economy and keep up the good work. I also want to quickly say thank you to the folks at Great Headwaters Trails for their efforts beyond some of this and other things that are happening as well. And additionally, the efforts with cross-country skiing and cross-country skiing and snowshoeing are things that are growing too in terms of the requests that we see at the Visitor Center. So thanks everybody for all that you have been doing and continue to do in the future, and congratulations. I'll end with that same word.
Thank you, Connie. And I think we owe a special thanks to Connie Heeg. In my opinion, there's no one person who's done more to introduce this area to the rest of the world than this man right here, Connie Heeg.
nice that we're not just the snowmobile capital of the world anymore. Here, here.
Eagle River is a place of many opportunities, that's for sure. Okay, one of the key players, a guy who really got this project underway and completed through oversight of various aspects of it, is Mike Robillard. Mike, where are you? Here he is. Mike Robillard.
Good morning. This is a big day for Eagle River. Eagle River is a fortunate town. It's nestled in the heart of the beautiful North Woods, and as Tom mentioned and Connie mentioned, it's it's ripe with opportunities for all kinds of recreation. And in the summer like this, we've got beautiful lakes and hiking opportunities. Winter, we've got snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and certainly snowmobiling. But this bike trail will help expand the brand of recreation in Vilas County, and as Connie said, take another step to connecting Eagle River with the rest of the county. Look at that limestone surface beneath your feet, and I think it's very, very important to point out that 10 years ago, if you wanted to see that, you would have had to stand on the shoulders of a giant named Tom Relsey, okay? This wouldn't have happened if it was not for the vision of that man. So he's very good at thanking other people, but he's terrible at recognizing his own contribution to this area of the state.
Thank him again.
Thank you, Tom. This kind of an undertaking takes a lot of people, though. It really does, and we're blessed in this area to have a lot of really, really good people. Eagle River is a volunteer-run town. The Three Eagle Trail is a volunteer organization. But the trail that you're standing on as well was designed by MSA. Jim Bowman, are you in the crowd? There he is in the back with the young man on his shoulder. Jim Bowman has designed most of the bike trails in Vilas County, and he does it with a level of professionalism that you're going to see as you head south. So thank you, Jim. The trail was constructed we chose a contractor who was an easy choice called Pitlick & Wick. And I got to tell you something, to watch these folks, to go from the design phase into the implementation, it was a diesel ballet. I mean, it was just something to watch these guys work. Just bam, bam, bam. And the workmanship, the skill, and the integrity of that company is just something to be marveled at, and we're very fortunate to have them for a contractor here. We could run down a list of names, and we will, and Tom has others to recognize, but as you go down this trail, certainly the surface was a big deal in design and construction, but there's lots of amenities. You're going to see mile markers, gates, kiosks, okay? There's a work crew, volunteer work crew that did those, and that's guys like Dick Deaver and Ron Harms and Gene Hersey, who's cleverly hidden behind the kiosk, and Joe Talbot and others. When you start down the list, you'll skip people, so if I missed you, I'm sorry. But all kinds of effort put into making this thing happen for today. So it's been a privilege for me to be part of this. It's not often you get to be part of something that's going to outlive you, and I got to do that. And that's one of my heart beaters. And I'll tell you what, the only thanks a guy like me needs, when you're working on this trail and you see families riding up and down it, wow, is that something cool. You just, wow. So, anyhow, that's all I've got. Tom, I'll turn it back. No, I'll tell you what. Look north. Look north. Connie mentioned GHT. The Great Headwaters Trails Organization formed a few years ago to take where the limestone ends, keep going north up to Land O'Lakes, okay? The visionary there was Mary Jo Berner. Where are you? There she is, okay? Mary Jo said, you know what, why don't we keep going north, all right? And she pulled a group of people together. Once she felt that she had the right team together, she, as she always does, went into the background, so she didn't get the credit for it, all right? Today you get the credit for it. But there's a well-oiled organization in place to keep going north to Lando and to connect to that wonderful system that stops at St. Germain, okay? And to speak a little bit more about that, I want to introduce a man named Jeff Curry. Jeff and Ann Curry and Gary Meister have worked tirelessly to make this thing happen, and we're getting close, getting very, very close. So, Jeff Curry, good friend.
Well, I can't tell you how exciting it is to be at a place where there really is a trail finished here, because our plans, which we've been working on, as Mike said, for the last 4 years, are coming together, but we do not have trail on the ground yet. And Jim, as well as anybody, Jim Bowman knows the story behind the trail that we hope to construct next summer in Conover, and another segment going on towards Phelps next summer also. So we're hoping to be standing by something at the end of next summer that's anywhere, somewhere near as good as what the Three Eagle people have put together here. But we do have some people around here today. Anybody who happens to have a snatch of a yellow safety green T-shirt, I don't know if I can get to mine here. Mike Boardwalk has his, and Gary Meister. These are all GHT folks, and they'll have some GHT brochures. If you'd like to know more about what we're up to and what we're planning and how you can help support that, please see any one of us, and we'll have a brochure that we can give to you. And again, it's just really exciting to be here, and I want to give total congratulations. Thank you very much.
Drowned out by a motorcycle. How appropriate is that?
Now we're getting there.
Okay, I know I'm going to miss some people. Mike already mentioned a few that we want to express appreciation to. Some people that were instrumental on this, of course, with the Three Eagle Trail Foundation. Ron Harms and his wife Barb. Ron and Barb, where are you? There's Barb, and Ron is over there. Why aren't the two of you together? And my wife Vicki, who's I believe there she is. And Lionel Kliss with the Three Eagle Trail hat. And he, of course, is supported by Gail, right next to him there. And Kathy Olkowski, she was handing out order forms for lunch. There's Kathy, marathon woman. And there are a number of other people too. Dick Deaver. Dick Deaver is here someplace this morning. There he is. A number of other helpful people. City Administrator for the City of Eagle River, Joe Laux. Joe is one of those people who rides his bike year-round, and he's been a huge supporter in all of our efforts here in the city. It's really been great. Of course, all the members of the Eagle River City Council were supportive. Members of the Town of Lincoln Board of Supervisors, Jim Bowman, we already mentioned, George Lurvy at Pitlick and Wick, and his talented crew, Mark McCain and the Three Lakes Winery. It really came to our aid in many ways. And another huge help, which I learned a lot about this guy since we got started on this project, but a man of many talents, diverse interests, and a huge supporter of everything silent sports, Dan Anderson. And Dan, in case you don't know, Dan is the owner of the Dairy Queen right behind me.
Oh.
Also, I want to recognize just quickly the Vilas County News Review. Anthony Drew is here representing them. WXBR Radio, WRJO Radio, and TV12. Charday Gray said she might try to make it here for our grand opening, but maybe she'll be waiting for the ribbon cutting down at the Boardwalk. And before this sounds too much like an Academy Awards acceptance speech, let me go back to one other person that I didn't mention too much at all, and that was Dick Aylward, and of course his wife Amy Jo Aylward. Where are you? There they are. Mike referred once before earlier to my vision, but if it wasn't for the vision, dedication, devotion, passion, commitment, generosity, and extreme generosity, this trail would not have happened, this part right here. And I think it's only appropriate that right now I hand these scissors over to Dick and Amy Jo and have them cut that ribbon so we can all start heading down the trail. Bill just asked if everyone should be on the other. Why don't we stay here and Anthony can get a picture of everybody by the ribbon? Oh, okay. All right.
How are you doing?
Well, I am. I'm the first across.
You're doing well.
This is not usually my gig. This is why we hired our sole employee is a communications manager. But it's a special day, so I'm going to talk here probably for too long. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Welcome to Taralila. We kind of think of this as, I know we're opening the new segment of the Three Eagle Trail, but we kind of think of this as a Taralila event.
Thank you very much.
So I want to welcome you, all of you, to the dedication of the newest and shiniest and longest boardwalk so far, anyways, on the Three Eagle Trail. And in our opinion, it leads to the best part of the trail, as you will discover. If you don't already know me, my name is Dick Aylward. I'm a co-owner with my wife, Amy Jo. She was introduced, but if you didn't meet her, she's over of Taralila LLC, and I'm also a director of the Three Eagle Trail Foundation. As you make your way into this woods and onto the boardwalk, you're entering land that is privately held by Taralila LLC. It's the second piece of land that we have open to public access that's along the Three Eagle Trail, where we host the Three Eagle Trail. We've created trails for hiking, snowshoeing, backcountry skiing, on that land. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Taralila has been deeply involved with this trail project since it was conceived. Actually, part of that conception. This dedication represents a rare opportunity for me and Taralila's sole full-time employee. Where is he? That guy. Our public properties manager, Mike Robillard, to honor, we're more on him. We're here to honor four women that have had the profoundest impact on our lives. Two of these women, as our mothers, are responsible for us being here. The other two, to be brutally honest, are probably the main reason we're still here. So I would like to extend a special welcome to my wife and my pumpkin, Amy Jo Aylward, Mike's wife, Laura Robillard. Where is she? To my mother, Louise Aylward. We have here. And where is she? Oh, there she is. And everybody's mom, Carol Robillard. I'd also like to say a quick welcome, another woman that means something to me, a little bit. My daughter Eleanor is here from Portland, Oregon.
Hi.
Oregon. And my son-in-law here is is here today as well, and we all wish him say happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe!
Today marks the end of a long and excruciating, a long journey for both the Three Eagle Trail and our little company. I'm going to do my best to keep things moving, but a lot of people have been involved in making this happen, and you're going to hear more, gushing of gratitude here. So we'll try, and we don't want to skimp on that at all. But there's really has been no one that's been more singularly involved in this project than my best friend and my brother from another mother, Mike Robillard. Over the last half dozen years, Mike has gone on to be one of the most recognizable faces in the area's trail community. From his work with the Three Eagle Trail as a director, and work with the Great Headwaters Trail, vitally important, spearheading the Vilas County Bike Plan, work with a little something we helped get going called VASA, another organization in Vilas County, that's another story, but the OCBWTC, been involved in hosting trail summits and being the project manager for this Eagle River segment. Amy and I could not have found a better person to represent us in this endeavor. No way. I have to say, I'm going to skip that part. It would have been easy to just name this boardwalk the Michael R. Robillard Boardwalk. And it would be had Mike not thankfully survived this endeavor. It was close there because once we almost killed each other, it could have been Mike and Dick's Memorial Boardwalk. As it is, I believe that Mike is in violent agreement with me as to who we are honoring today. As the public face of Tarleela, I'm going to allow Mike the privilege and opportunity to for expressions of gratitude, for more of those, to the many that helped take us this far, but I want to thank a few people personally here first. First, I'd like to thank my father, Bill Elward, because he taught me generosity by his example. I'd like to thank my two brothers as well. They helped make it possible for us to practice that generosity in a more enthusiastic manner. And I think that's all I'm going to say about it. Quickly, if I have anything to say about it, then someday, though, there's going to be a bridge somewhere that's going to be the Tom Ralsa Bridge. And maybe there's a Jeff and Ann Curry Bridge there somewhere over the Wisconsin River, maybe. We can dream. And I also need to acknowledge and personally thank my good friends Gene Hersey and Joe Talbot, have been faithful friends to Tarleela and came to our aid at the last minute when we really needed them. They saved our bacon. Thank you, Gene and Joe. Now I'm going to hand it over to Mike briefly, and after that I'll tell you a little bit about Tarleela and introduce these four special women.
All right. A day of gratitude. You're standing on Tarleela property, and this used to be held by other people, but there are people that made this trail possible that weren't recognized up at the Dairy Queen. There's a guy named Terry Hess who works with the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands. He helped the Elwards acquire the BCPL property that made this segment of the trail possible. Chris Knotts from the Corps of Engineers, he helped us draw the line. It's an amazing thing. He spent multiple site visits here helping us determine where to do this crossing. try to think of others. There's a guy named, we mentioned the town of Lincoln, but a guy named Bruce Richter, who was the town of Lincoln supervisor, but he also worked for Pitlick and Wick. So he not only voted in favor of this trail, but he made the trail. And then there's a company called Yankee, subcontractor to Pitlick and Wick, and they constructed this jewel that you're going to walk across. And Thor Wick was the ramrod for that project. So those are some of the names. But as you walked down or rode down this trail, you certainly crossed Eagle River property. That was the rail grade. And then you encountered some private property owners. The Linda Brunswick and her family, they gave us a 99-year easement. Randy and Sue Athens in that little corridor north of the landfill, another 99-year land use agreement. And then the town of Lincoln around the landfill, that was a 30-year agreement. So those are people worth noting. But I'm a lucky man, very, very lucky man. I have some people here today that I want to recognize. One is my mother. 7 months ago, it was touch and go whether or not she'd be here for this ceremony, and I'm happy to say my mother is here to cross this boardwalk. My wife Laura, I'm not going to go into that speech, okay? I can't. You can't. You wouldn't tolerate it. But let's just say, yeah, she's why I am still here. And my kids are here. Hannah, raise your hand, Hannah. There's Graham right behind her, my son. And there's little Haley right there clapping her hands. You know, my granddaughter reminds me why we build trails like this. We're talking generational stuff, all right? This is really, really cool. She may be able to bring her grandkids here someday. But it all... I'm going to tell you a story. 6 years ago, I was at the end of my rope. I had some very responsible positions in a high-stress industry called the paper industry. And at the turn of the century, things were collapsing, and guys that weren't wound quite as tight as me are still in that industry. But I was at my rope's end. And Dick and Amy Elward, in keeping with the Elward family tradition, threw me a rope. And Amy propped me up on her shoulders. No, Dick propped me up on her shoulders, and Amy tied the knot. Thank God that's true, because Dick could still be on his iPad researching knot configuration. So Dick held me up. Amy tied the knot and said, "Hang on." Most people would have stopped right there, but Dick and Amy put some land underneath me. Okay? All of a sudden I could just let go of that knot. You're standing on that ground. This is the entrance to my office. Okay? A couple thousand acres of beautiful wilderness preserved in perpetuity. That is Taralila, and I've been entrusted to manage that gift to the future, and I can't thank them enough. And Louise, be proud. Be proud. It's amazing. And I have to thank my father. He couldn't be here today. 30 years ago, he had an appointment with God that he couldn't miss. But he taught me something about, I was 16. Where's Chris Howley? Where are you, man? Right here. Okay, Chris and I used to enjoy my dad's property up in Oconto County, and 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, we wanted dirt bikes. And I said, "Dad, can I have a dirt bike?" We wanted to tool around the fire lanes. And my dad said, "No, I'm not going to let you go into an area on something loud and fast when you should be going through it slowly and quietly to appreciate it." And that's never left me, okay? And that's part of what we're doing here. So a lot of people to thank. Short, I'm just going to cut that short right now. So, but Gene Hersey, I see you right there. Gene and I built these things, okay? We knocked these things out. I wouldn't have been able to do that without this guy, I'll tell you that. So, he's the craftsman. I was the gopher. Dick? I'll let you have it.
Bear with me here a second. I need these, even when with the letters blown up. You know, there's no limit to what a man can do or where he can go if he doesn't mind giving the woman the credit. You know, that's kind of how I want to preface this. Amy, pardon me? Amy Jo and I are both extremely grateful to be able to own a few pretty nice chunks of woodland acreage in what we all know is one of the most beautiful places on the planet, where Vilas County kind of juts out in a panhandle, and you know, that's what I call it anyways. Anyways, a number of years ago, I was blessed to be able to fulfill one of my boyhood dreams of owning a piece of property in the North Woods. And that place in the woods would somehow grow whenever Amy Jo's watchful eye would fall on some nearby woodland acreage for sale. In the early 2000s, Amy found a 100-acre parcel that was nearby. In this case, it meant driving north to Eagle River, west to Sunstein Road, down to the south end of Sunstein, and east over a 1.5 mile long logging road on an easement through Wausau Paper Company land. And we saw that parcel, we fell in love with it, wanted to protect that. A year or two later, we would find out by a third party that someone wanted to build a bike trail on our only legal access to our now beloved South 100. I found out who someone was and emailed them with the suggestion that they would be talking to our very good real estate attorney if this bike trail were to prevent us from accessing our South 100. They were the Three Eagle Trail Foundation. Fortunately, Tom Ralsa, with his amazing diplomatic skills, put our fears to rest. And what has been a long and mutually beneficial relationship, what has been a long and mutually beneficial relationship, began with the threat of legal action. I love telling that. I have another story like that, too. That relationship led to an escalation, weird, in our acquisition of nearby vacant woodland parcels. So there we were a couple of years later with a bunch of woods, swampland, creek bottom, bog, and well, you know, diverse ecosystems. Really, in reality, more woods than I had ever dreamed on, and more woods than my mother could practice German forestry on in 2 lifetimes. I'm sure she's thinking that all this needs work right now. More on that. And for whatever reason, all the best acreage just happens to have a major regional bicycle pedestrian trail running through it. So I suggest to Amy Jo, how about building some more rustic hiking and snowshoe trails near and around the big bike trail? And well, you know, how about we invite the public to use them? And Amy Jo, knowing that I don't already have enough pastimes, says, okay. And why don't you hire your best friend to help you do it? And here we are. And that's what Taralila is in spirit. It's an opportunity to spend time in these woods with our friends and create something that can be enjoyed by others. As been the case throughout our brief history, serendipity has provided us with the means and the opportunity to have a role in protecting, enhancing, and now expanding this fantastic resource, the Three Eagle Trail. The secret is that we have fun doing it. Most of the time, at least 51% of the time. And as a reward for all that fun, we get to do something like this, you know, name a bridge and talk for a hell of a long time. But I want to get down to the meat of the thing, which is introducing you a little bit to our honorees today. I've known Laura and Carol Robillard for around 35 years. Seems like I've known, but a lot of what I know about them comes from my extensive FaceTime with Mike. and that's a good thing. All of these women, to an extent, are what we call trail widows. They sacrifice our presence for weeks at a time to another zip code. You know, sometimes we wonder maybe they like that. but Laura Robillard is the ultimate
nice
trail
break.
widow. By any law I can discern, her and Mike are residents of different counties 150 miles apart. And Laura's sacrifice directly benefits me and Amy and really people that enjoy riding, bike, and walking on trails around here. To me, Laura embodies a spirit of innocence and a sense of wonder like nobody else I know. I don't know if well. And while Mike is here focused on the business of trails, Laura is back in the Fox Valley doing something that is more vital by applying her abundant mothering and mentoring skills where they are most needed. Her heart and hands are rarely idle from making the world a more beautiful place, and for the children that come in contact with her love, where is he? An example, a more hopeful place. That's Laura, but I'm going to share this. We have a calendar at home, and we mark goofy anniversaries and stuff on it, like the day I became a Mac user and stuff like that. But we also have a few others on there, like the day that Laura lost her patience. Something that's worth marking on the calendar, or the day that Laura let slip the F word, and it was probably like fig or something. That's our Laura. Thank you, Laura. We love you. We promise to let you see Mike once in a while. And then there's Carol Robillard. From her own children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, to her cafeteria kids throughout her life service at St. Gabriel's Catholic Elementary School, where she fed more kids than Jesus with the fish and loaves. Carol Robillard is everybody's mom. And if you behave, she'll be your mom too. And, my first memory of her is that she's standing at the bottom of the basement stairs in their house on Richard, and she's got a laundry basket in her hand, and she's barking, "Michael!" and I would have been terrified, not just for Mike, but for myself, but there was just enough humor and love in there to ease my mind a bit. So I always thought of Carol as being just a little bit mischievous. Maybe she enjoys stirring up conflict with her baked goods. Carol Robillard is Catholic. She didn't gather that. I've heard that Carol, like my own mother-in-law, has been known to say the rosary, or as we say, the rosary, in prayer for her family and others that may require a little divine intervention. I know that correlation does not prove causation, but we have had several occurrences of extraordinary luck this past week putting this thing together. And, well, frankly, for quite some time, I'm just saying. Carol is the first to be concerned with someone else's needs. I've heard, and the last to think of her own, and I have heard story after story of this. That selflessness, as well as her strong values, deep faith, and her fierce love of family have clearly helped to shape the man that I call my other brother. Thank you, Mom, for your son and for your prayers. Now I'm going to get on to the next one. I could go on and on. I'm going to try to not do that. My mother has traveled the world, rubbed elbows with business and political leaders, and can operate comfortably in the highest social circles.
She seems to know everybody. Event planning, public relations, interior design, catering, fundraising, human relations, forest purchasing agent, cheerleader, salesperson. My mom has done it all. Her decades-long role in support of my late father in our family business, or as a force in her own right, she has touched the lives of many. But there's something else you need to know about my mom. Rarely a summer day passes that she is not out in her own woodland acreage on the shores of Lake Winnebago, sometimes picking up sticks. Did you pick any up today? Or clearing brush with only her pet deer, turkeys, and cranes for company, or commanding her troops, up to and including a high school wrestling team, at larger tasks like planting trees, clearing zebra mussels, burning fields, and yes, making trails and putting in bridges. So you see a pattern here. And this guy here, Steve England, that helped us immeasurably by driving my mother up here today, knows all about this, so you talk to him. I can't believe I didn't say mowing in there somewhere. She has occasionally adopted, enlisted, employed entire families. If you think that you too want to be adopted by Mrs. A, you should know that she believes strongly in the value of hard work. The wild and messy woods that I roamed as a youth, where I learned to love the woods, now kind of looks like an outdoor scene from Pride and Prejudice. I don't know if you can picture that, you know, where you expect to see Elizabeth Bennet come, you know, skipping down the trail like a BBC period piece. I don't know if that you're going to be able to relate that, but it is truly beautiful in its way. You know, German forestry, yeah. And the times I have come to her for help with whatever project we happen to be involved with, she has answered the call beyond any expectation, and this boardwalk is no exception. Thank you, Mom, for life, for your support, and for that gene that drives me to be out in the woods and do this. And the next one I kind of put off because I thought it would be the easiest one to write.
Hey, knock it off.
Amy and I were married on New Year's Eve, the anniversary of our second date and trek through the woods on snowshoes. There's that pattern. It's now nearly 35 years later, and she's still walking that path next to me. That alone should qualify her as some kind of female superhero. I've already given you some idea of her support of this project and her role in its history. But there's just a couple more things I need to share. When you marry an Andrews, it's a package deal. Includes 4 sisters and a brother, another set of parents, a bunch of what we call outlaws, which I count, and I count these people among my close friends. Some close enough, in fact, to live across the street. Dedication to family means that at some point, it's likely you will be caring for an aging parent. Taking on a primary role in that care through her father's death and with her continued daily visits with her mother brought Amy into daily contact with those in the final stages of life. She's a well-known face at the Valley Visiting Nurses Association down in Neenah. Some find it difficult to deal directly with the debilitations and decay of aging. Others are drawn to the task. For Amy, the experience dovetailed with her long desire to learn the art and science of massage. Many angels can be found working and volunteering in nursing homes and assisted care facilities. Judy, Jean, Roy, which are all here. Where are you guys? And anybody else here. But to be called to give comfort through simple touch to that population is unfortunately rare, and it can mean so much. So yes, if I wasn't already blessed enough, my wife is a licensed massage therapist, focusing on geriatric massage, and I have been a regular beneficiary of those magic hands since the start. And as an old goat, I'm not that far from being a typical client anyway. While I'm holed up here in the woods, Amy is, like Laura, widowed in another zip code, spending time with her other love, her garden. Replete with a labyrinthine trails, stone walls, and a variety of adornments, concrete critters, and a moose or two. And this garden of wonder surrounds the stone house we call Tiernanog. So if I'm heading north or south, sometimes feeling like a ping pong ball, I am always on the road to paradise, and I know I'm always on the road home. Thank you, Amy Jo, for your love, your friendship, your magic touch, for walking by my side as I explore the dream that led me here. And really making it happen. Okay, now we'll get on with unveiling of the name of the trail. One of the perks of allowing a major bike trail to cross one of your best bits of land is that you have no reservations about asking for the right to name something. As the structures along the trail currently have such wildly creative names as Mud Creek Bridge and Black Spruce Boardwalk, I was intrigued by this particular challenge. I assure you that my thought process for the name began like that of any rational man that has been married for some time, naming something after his spouse, partner, but it ended with the four women that have either given us life, saved our lives, sacrificed our presence in their lives, given direction to our lives, or all of the above. But then I thought Amy, Carol, Laura, and Louise's Boardwalk was quite a mouthful. So, taking a page from the clean pragmatism of Black Spruce Boardwalk, etc., I settled on a name. And although the secret is already out, please pretend to be surprised while the name is unveiled. This boardwalk will henceforth be known as Four Women Boardwalk to honor our wives and our mothers. Amy Jo Aylward, Laura Robillard, Louise Aylward, and Carol Robillard. And now in dedicating this boardwalk to these four women, it is our wish that as you pass through Taralila via this fabulous boardwalk, the Three Eagle Trail, or by our own trails, that the experience will touch you in some small way, that in the manner that these four women have made our lives better, we hope that your trek will lift you up, inspire you, calm you, otherwise make your day better. And it's a real possibility because I went snowshoeing once and it made my life better. And there's no way I'm going to say the next part. I will close with a couple short... I will say that part. Van Morrison embodies this idea best when he's saying, "Oh, hand me down my great coat, oh, hand me down my big boots. I believe I'll go walk it in the woods. Because when heart is open, you will change, just like a flower slowly opening." I will close now with a couple short stanzas and something else I wrote when I first shared this idea with Mike. And then we're going to have we're going to try to have the four women open up the boardwalk. Thank you for your patience, and thank you all for sharing this day with us and bearing with me here. So, can we get the women so that I can say something?
Get your custom.
kind of a ritual thing.
A ritual.
4.5 women. 4 women.
Are we in place? You can get most of mic. As you cross these woods from west to east, may your despair pass in the hope of a new day. As you cross this water from north to south, may the warm rays of the sun ease your pain. As you cross these woods from east to west, may your troubled heart find peace in the stillness of night. And as you cross this water from south to north, may the heat of your longing find cool comfort. Like 4 points on a compass, their example, sacrifice, generosity, and love are true. With them, we are never lost. With them, we discern the path home. Amen. Thank you.
Grandma. Good, Grandma.
I like her.
We're doing now. People
Grandma.
keep going and go through cars and enjoy that.
I should move my
Camps down there and people that order food. It's going to be
Yes, you are.
There's a single prototype. So many, kind of, you have options.
I'm so happy for you. What a nice day.
Boardwalk's open for business.
She kept walking off the boardwalk. Oh, really? The mighty Michael Powell. Oh, yeah.
Good, how are you? Good.
I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm walking down there or if I'm driving.
I have 2 more minutes.
Wow.